Hello there. So right now I'm about to show you what Illumine actually is like. So this is the game we've made for our project at Coventry University, and right now the game is pretty much done, and let us see how the gameplay actually is. Rather than just seeing everything through text on my blog, let us see the actual gameplay. So once you open it up, you are greeted with this main menu, which I did talk about in the blog, and let us see what we have in the settings. So within the settings we have firstly gameplay, and here we have the language, which it still is only English, and subtitles, but we have no one talking right now. We did plan on adding those, but we eventually just scrapped the idea. Controls, here we can adjust the sensitivity, and as you can see it pretty much works, but right now I am not one who likes to have a lot of sensitivity, so I'll just leave it below 300. You can inverse the mouse if you're used to having inverse mouse, of course. You can use auto sprint, and I believe most of us will use this. So what does auto sprint do? If you do not have this enabled, when pressing W, you will just walk casually, slowly. But with auto sprint, and you would have to sprint by holding Shift or whatever keybind you want. And if you enable auto sprint, you will just automatically sprint once you reach the peak speed of your walking speed. And sprint is pretty important in our game because if you just do not sprint, you cannot wall run or do stuff like that, but maybe that's what you want, so just enable it or disable it. Next, let us see key bindings. This is something I worked a lot on, and it pretty much, I mean, did you ever like the way the input system of Unity worked? Because I personally didn't. So right now, what I've done here, I pretty much changed the whole system, and you can change your controls from inside the game. Let's say you want to go up by pressing, I don't know, up arrow, and as you can see, you can do that. Or you just want to have W, but you want to also be able to run from up arrow. You can have both and it will work. Or let's say you want to have an odd keybind. I have no idea why would you want that, but maybe you want. And let's say you want to go upwards, I mean forward, by pressing Control Shift G. And as you can see, you can do that. Right now, let's say you just want to remove it. So you press it, press unbind key, and there you go, removed it. And here you can see all your keybinds, and they work fine. It took me a while to create all this idea, but it was totally worth it, and I believe from now on my games I'll just use this. It's totally worth it. All right. Um, then we have video settings. Right now here you can change the resolution and it works fine. I don't think I'll do it in the video. You can do it on your own because I think doing it within a video may destroy like the way the resolution works in the video. I'm not sure about this. Then you can change the quality and it pretty much works. See, when putting it on low, there's pretty much no more fog. I mean, yeah, no volumetric lighting anymore. You can make it full screen just by pressing this. And one of the many cool features that I've added is the color scheme. So this is a default color scheme, which is no longer purple and yellow as it initially should have been, but we just scrapped that idea. And right now the default is yellow and blue. But let's say you don't like it, you want something else, or you are, let's say, colorblind. With colorblind, deuteranopia is for the people who have this problem, and this is just so we can make sure that they can see the colors correctly of the UI. Then we have for another type of color blindness, which is with purple and green. Then we have just green and blue. Pretty interesting. Sunset fields, and here, as you can see, is with my favorite colors, which are orange and green. And the original idea which we had for the whole menu, which is purple and yellow. Let's say that we'll just skip this for now. And audio, which we don't have yet audio, you can change from here the settings. but we don't have sound, but so it's pretty pointless right now, but you can just see, and it works because the game inside has audio mixers. You can see that in the project, and this actually modifies the value of the mixers, so they are intended to be used, but we just didn't put any sounds afterwards after all. So let us see what the game looks inside. In order to start the game, of course, you go and press play. Let us see what happens afterwards. The game loads up with the Illumine logo, and once it loads up, you will be greeted with a beautiful message on your right. And right now we are in the bus station, waiting for the bus. And seems like the bus is coming after us. That's the haunting darkness, as you can see. It is pretty much supposed to be chasing us. And it is. And right now, as you can see on the right, we have to run towards the inside of the building, which is pretty much not this way. And we have to run, because this haunting darkness is chasing us. We'll just go here. We have reached the checkpoint. And let us call the elevator. The haunting darkness is chasing us. Let's hope it will not kill us until the elevator comes down. And there it is. Let us go upwards. Inside, press E. And right now the elevator started running and we will go up. We have reached the top. And right now let us move forward. You can see a lot of details around here. I may go in depth about them. We are just running around here. Another checkpoint. Right now we can use the boxes. We can like pick this up, put it here in order for us to run on top of them, and we are up. Now I have to move forward. Once you do a long jump, you'll just roll, because of course you need to roll in order to not take fall damage technically. As you can see on the top right, every time you reach a checkpoint, the message changes there, and here we have a labyrinth. And you also get on the bottom left, you also get a score based on how quickly you get there. The haunting darkness is close to us. We can run. We have to run. We got here. Hope it's still after us. And right now we have to climb on top. Oh no, this is no good. We got here, and right now let us move forward. This is what was wall jumping from one wall to another. Right here. We'll go there, and I've done a mistake. Okay, so here we are again. Let us see how the game goes from that point. My apologies, that's why it's good to have playtesting, because you can always check if you have forgotten stuff around the area. So let us see. As you got here, we're jumping on this next building. And right now, as you can see... Oh, and by the way, I didn't show you. The dome around us is rotating, and it also casts shadows on us. And as you can see, there are a lot of ads around the area, which are animated. Pretty much they are GIFs, pretty much animated GIFs. Oh, and the haunting darkness is coming towards us. Let us run away. We have to run. We are nearby the final objective. So here we are, and we have to go on the left elevator. Here it is, and let us run down. Oh no, it's coming towards us. And right now, we have to go through a teleportation node. Where will it bring us? Where are we? Oh, we are on top of the building at the edge of the world, pretty much. And what we is the final countdown, as you can see on the right side. Run towards the protection field on the building below. Jump, don't be afraid. Okay, it seems like we have to jump right there, nearby my beautiful bridge. Okay, so it seems like we have to go there as the haunting darkness is coming towards us. Let us jump. Will we be able to get there? And we were! And now we got here inside. Final destination reached. Survival against impossible odds is now guaranteed. Nothing, not even the haunting darkness can stop you. And we got to the end. And right now, we are safe. It can no longer reach us, as this protection field is now, as you can tell from its name, protecting us. And it can no longer pass through it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it. So, there are a few things in the video that I didn't have time to talk about, and I wanted to show you. So, you may have seen the lifts, and there are some elevators which, as you can see, they are working, and they have buttons that are calling them. Then they also have buttons inside them that are pretty much telling them to move upwards and downwards, depending on what you're telling them to. And it's all done through a transporter script that I've done before, I mean for this project, and you can see it here. Give me a second to show it to you. Set in assets, scripts, game, interaction, if I remember correctly, and if not, it's in movement. Yeah, in movement. All right, and it's here, and I'm pretty much having a lot of stuff here, and the elevators are pretty much always checking for passengers if you are telling them to. And right now the elevators in the game, I told them to not look for passengers. So for example, if you want them to tell them to just, I mean, you can press the button inside and tell them to go upwards, but then you leave the elevator, it will work. So they're not affected by that because that's how I put the asset in the game. But you can change that as I put here. And they have only two destinations, but you can easily add more destinations for each elevator and it will work. Right now the button inside is just telling them to go to the next destination, and there are only two destinations. But if there were more, it would just go first, if let's say from the first floor to the second floor, the third floor, and so on. So that's how it works right now. Then what I want to talk about are the streets. Yeah, you've seen that, how it works. The street lights, not important. The auto rotate. Yeah, a lot of objects in the game have an auto rotation script, which I've done, which is pretty simple. It just tells them to rotate with a certain speed around a certain axis. That's something which I believe is pretty interesting. So yeah, here it is. You're pretty much just telling them around which axis to rotate, and these are the axes around which they rotate. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's how the dome around the city rotates. That's how the the fans are rotating. And yeah, that's pretty much it about this, which is pretty useful. A lot of the stuff I add in the game are using interfaces now because I've seen how useful they are. Which is, for example, who is using that? Well, for example, the movement of the player is using an interface, and right now most of the interface that I put in the game are not used for multiple objects because I didn't need to, but initially I did plan on doing that. The only one which right now is used by multiple objects is the destroyable component. So you may not have noticed that, but when you die, your player pretty much turns into a rigid body and it has most of its components deleted, and that's because they're all destroyable components. And the player on death pretty much destroys all the destroyable components, and they will have the destroy component function which does something for each of them. Let's see what it does for the player movement script, which is right here. So the player movement script is a destroyable component, and the function is right at the bottom. And once the player dies, it firstly stops running, stops crouching, destroys the animator of the head because you don't want to like have the animation of running or falling after you've died, and then it pretty much destroys itself. And that's how it that's what the function that what the script for mouse rotation also does, and for multiple objects has. Alright, then pipes, we've seen probably the pipes in the feature that I've put in the project files. Well, interaction, yeah, with buttons for elevators. The buttons, yeah, once you are falling from a higher ground for a certain amount of time, you are rolling, and that's pretty straightforward. And this is pretty important. So when you are starting a game, you see you have a loading screen. Why is that? Because behind the scenes, behind that loading screen you're having, the game has loaded up. But what's the point of it then? Because the first few times, the first few seconds, once the game has loaded up, if you rotate your camera, you will have a lot of lag. And why may that be? Because it probably didn't load the shaders completely, I believe. And that's why behind that loading screen you're having, this is what happens. Where was it? Here. So I'm pretty much telling the player to rotate the camera over 1 second around, firstly, around the y-axis for 360 degree. And why does he do that? Again, to look at everything it can in the scene, so it pretty much loads them up, so once you start the game you no longer have lag. And that's what it does afterwards around the x-axis. And it pretty much is, it's really effective, and you believe it's like a loading screen which loads the level, and it somewhat is. It somewhat is. So yeah, that's pretty much something I've done. So if you remove the loading screen, that's what you'll see. The player rotating its camera around itself, pretty much. The posters, yeah, I did talk about that. The terrain, yeah, the terrain is pretty awesome, and I love that I've learned about it. The force fields, which you've seen. Yeah, the final bubble shield, once you get inside it, it gets impenetrable. So now the haunting darkness can no longer go there. And yeah, the score is based on the time passed since the last objective to which you reached. So the faster you get to an objective, the higher score you'll get. Alright, so that's what I wanted to add to my blog, pretty much. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the game. Have fun there, and stay away from the haunting darkness.